Hey, you guys. Madison, Alabama. It's raining. It's beautiful. So, the premise for my teachings is that, like people who once upon a time said we thought the Earth was flat, we're learning it's round, left the heliocentric left the idea that the Earth is the center of our area to the sun being the center. Like doctors saying, nope, the answer to this medical problem this person had is to put leeches. The answer is leeches, to put it on the skin, to suck the poison out. And then realizing we were wrong, there are better ways. Advancement, progression. The point is, we're going to come to a point where in spirituality, we're going to realize that ego death, being anti-human and pro-spirit was never the answer. We thought it was, like they thought leeches were the answer, like we thought the Earth was flat. We thought that. It's what made sense. It's the light we had to work with at the time. But an anti-human spirit that the collective consciousness creates is not the answer, in my opinion, in my experience. So the progression that I'm at now, I would call it spirit-human fusion. So, beginning with the idea, the concept of a fall, if you remove that idea, instead of we were up here and then we fell and we're going to have to get restored, it's more like we were an acorn and gradually we're growing into an oak tree. We're living longer now than ever. That was Jewish mythology, said people lived to 800 or 900 years. The science studies, the DNA studies, that never happened. The Homo sapien came about 250,000 years ago in Africa. We live longer now than ever because of advancement, progression in medical science, vaccines, etc. So the collective consciousness, we knew we intuitively, 250,000 years ago, we knew we were spirit and animal in one. So we projected that into the atmosphere. You see the old ancient cave drawings of the horned god. So that was our projection, and we were trying to understand it. So we started to investigate ourselves on a psychological level. We created a god or a goddess or a deity for each area of our lives: our sex lives, our money, our bartering, revenge. Different gods represented different aspects of our psyche. Projected that into the atmosphere as though those were real gods. We were telling our own mythology, the Greek gods, the Egyptian gods, the Jewish gods, God concepts, the monotheism eventually. We were telling our own story, our own evolution, our own evolutionary leaps, our uprisings and our downfalls. So we create the spirit, the energy field, called the collective consciousness, the quantum field, the electromagnetic field that goes around the heart, 3 feet in diameter, that's measurable. That electromagnetic field did not create your heart. In fact, your heart produces that. So we humans produce the gods. And then the gods conform us to their image when we give service to the spirit world beingness that we create. So we produce a spirit, and then that spirit that we produce becomes our guidance system. It leads us and guides us into all truth. But it's truth, not someone else's truth. It's truth. The truth. If you produce from your psychological agreement with Scientology teachings, if you produce a spirit essence of Scientology, it's going to lead you eventually to believe in Xenu, the alien, and the Thetans, etc. It's going to give you deep illumination, revelation, because the mind you were born with can't comprehend it. Only the spirit can reveal it to you. And I think it's BS, but that spirit is real because people produced it. Ron Hubbard produced that spirit, and it transferred itself into other leaders, and then eventually into people like John Travolta and Tom Cruise. The Pentecostal spirit I was raised under, starting at age 17 when I came on fire for Jesus, under the New Apostolic Reformation, is a sex-hating, gay-hating spirit that only loves itself. It's a narcissist that only loves itself. So that spirit gets in people, and then that spirit loves itself in other people. So as long as you're speaking spirit to spirit, you talk about God all day long with the people in your life, then you're going to feel love, brotherly love, right? But that spirit only loves itself, its own presence in other people. As soon as you break away from Scientology, as soon as you break away from the New Apostolic Reformation and its human-hating doctrines, Romans 12:1, offer yourselves a living sacrifice upon the altar of spirit. Human-hating. So Galatians 2:20, I am crucified, and only the Spirit of Christ lives through me. Human-hating spirit is a narcissist who only loves itself. That's why Christians worship Donald Trump, because he's a narcissist who only loves himself. And he loves the Republican spirit in other people, but as soon as Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't align with the doctrines and the doctrines, the rhetoric, suddenly she's an outcast. So they didn't really love her; they loved her agreement. They loved when she had that spirit living in her. In the Pentecostal church, if you say, "Hey, actually, sex is not a sin," suddenly the people who loved you and nurtured you for years suddenly treat you like a leper, because they never loved you. They loved the spirit in them, loved the spirit of anti-human rhetoric in you. And it's taking quantum fusion, quantum entanglement into a new level. Quantum entanglement is when subatomic particles are fused together. They know each other forever. One is now associated, and when one is activated, the other is activated. So hating everything human, your five natural senses, the natural mind, the natural being, hating everything human was then quantumly entangled with loving everything heavenly. So the more you love heavenly experiences, the more you hate your own earthly earthiness, the world of the five senses, the sensual world. In the New Age movement, Book of Urantia says the blue people are superior, and they find their amalgamation in what you would call your white race, and the destruction of other races is fine, necessary, because they're not coming up to par. So white supremacy, Book of Urantia, chapter 51, hating the personal self, law of one, the writings of Ra, which are not Ra of Egypt, they're a whitewashed New Age version. Colonizers take from other cultures and make it their own. Because I know people in the Golden Dawn who know the real Ra. That's not Ra. That's a Pleiadian spirit, a Nordic spirit who loves his own. So it's all for white supremacy. So the personal self has the ability, what the Christians call the flesh, what New Agers call the ego. They need to believe that the personal self is fallen, so that the personal self can only get restored through the way we're telling you to do. That way it's the spirit essence in each leader takes dominion. Dominionism is the curse that has been upon the earth for thousands of years. We're coming away from that. We're not aligning with it. We're going to go into harmonization of the ethnicities, the gender spectrums, the orientations, and the religions, and create a better world. But as it stands, dominionism, in Genesis, have dominion, colonization, colonialism, the dehumanization of black, brown, gay, trans, and Palestinians, that is hate, and it starts with hating your human energies in favor of your spirit energies. But when you harmonize the two, your eyes are open and you see, once you love both your spirit energies and your sensual energies equally, eventually they'll fuse, fall in love with each other, and produce a new you, have a baby, the new you. John 16:21, you 12 men will have a baby. And that's how you'll see me the second time. You produce my nature, you produce my teachings in your persona, and once that baby is born, you'll see me the second time. The second coming of Christ is you giving birth to the nature of love one another. But if you just constantly kill the self, where the empathy and the love is, humans love other humans, spirits love other spirits. So if you just operate in the spirit, you can only truly love other people who have that same spirit. But when you operate and you identify as human, you are a citizen of this world and have the ability to love one another, even people that are different from you. Instead of coexist, you harmonize and create a one world beauty. You're a world citizen. And so as long as you think all that is in the world is the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, and the lust of the eye, then you'll never experience the Revelation 21 descension into human flesh. The Word becomes flesh, comfortable in the human story. That's why they said he is a wine bibber and a glutton. He drinks too much wine, eats too much food. The Pharisees said that of Jesus because he was becoming the Word made flesh, not the flesh just as a vehicle to reflect the light of the Spirit. Jesus wasn't just being clothed with the heavenly dimension. He was being clothed the wedding garment, which is spirit and flesh marriage, starting to. But he was crucified after 3 years of his ministry, so had you given him another 30 years, he probably would have said some very different things than at the beginning. So the purpose of Christianity is to kill the image of God in normal sexual and psychological development. People sow their wild oats. They experience the erotic. Once they're fulfilled erotically, now they're ready. Psychologically, now they've grown, learn their mistakes, learn wisdom from their own mistakes. Now they learn wisdom. Now they're ready for a romantic relationship. And when you kill all sexual and psychological development, just walking in the spirit that you were inherited from your mentors, which is a human-hating spirit, then you kill the image of God in favor of a spirit that was created by the collective consciousness due to superstition, kind of like in the medical world you would have affirmed because your mentors told you to put leeches on people. You would have affirmed that practice. Just like in the spiritual communities, they affirm ego death. They affirm killing the flesh. They affirm killing the actual image of God because they believe it's sin or victim story, victim consciousness. So you live above the human level because you hate the human. And this produced the Galactic Federation of Light, which is Trump worship, hating all humanity that is not exactly like its own spirit. And then all the while saying, I'm delivered from the illusion of separation. You are the ultimate separator. Quantumly fusing, deny thyself. I mean, if you're a serial killer, yes, deny yourself. Quantumly fusing, deny thyself with love one another. They negate each other. They cancel each other out. So you'll never love one another because you're only a spirit, and spirits only love their own presence in other people. So anybody different from you can't actually love authentically as a person because you're not here to love as a human. You're here to love as a spirit, loving the same spirit in other people. That's the nature of it. But when you fuse spirit and flesh, now your spirit and your flesh fall in love with each other. And so you identify as a human with all the worlds of spirit intact. You identify as a human with all the worlds of spirit intact. Gone are the days when you said, I am not a human, I am a spirit having a human experience. So when you realize that, now it's not the world of illusion, like the Buddhist said. It's not the world of illusion. The Buddha said that to people who were dying of starvation. Desire causes suffering. Yes, if you desire food and you can't have it, it will cause suffering. But if you desire an abundance of things and it's attainable, then you got to get rid of those Buddhist doctrines to attain things. So the blueprint, law of attraction blueprint, gaze at the final outcome, and the process, the steps you take in the natural world to achieve that outcome are equally important. So the meditation and the erotic are equally important. The illumination you get in prayer and the activism to uplift marginalized people are equally important. But you'll never see that if you think this world is illusion. You'll never see that if you just walk in the spirit only, to the negation of the human reality. Okay, so that's the sum of the last message. That was an hour long. I'm trying to do a summary of that last message. So, just like NASA knowing more than Galileo, we're going to know more than Peter, James, and John. We're going to know more than the starseeds. They are limited at their creation. Our psychology created the spirits, and then the spirits conformed us to their image. But we're going to do away. 2 Peter 3:10 it says to destroy the heavens. Destroy the heavens, yes. Destroy the quantum field, because you got to create a new heaven and a new earth, a new spirit essence, and a new personification, heaven and earth. Your heavenly traits and your earthly traits have to be made new. 2 Peter 3:10, burn away the heavens, burn away this earth. In other words, that old spirit. In their case, burning away the spirit of Moses, the heavens of Moses, to create a heavens of Jesus. In our case, burn away the heavens of Jesus because it produced apathy. It produced apathy towards all things human. That either the human doesn't really exist, we're only spirit, or that it's sin. It was never sin. The only sin is harming other people, harm for other people. And yeah, the idea that there was a fall is harmful. The idea that you are fallen in your ego, that you will harm yourself. You are harming the image of God. So the idea itself is sin, because you're going against the Creator's nature. We are acorn growing gradually into an oak tree. We're a baby gradually coming into adulthood, and we've never been better. 1940s torture lynchings, cannibalism. They would burn the black man's body and eat it. We are better now than we were then. And there were white people crying out against that, but they were killed instantly for being race traitors. Now what? Now what? We're so much better. Sure, Trump is president, but there's maybe 40% of white Americans are crying out against it. And that's the Elohim power. Because who's of the coming world and who's of the old world? The MAGA is of the old world, and the activists are of the coming world. The coming world always has more power, more Elohim power. Genesis 1, the Elohim spoke. In the beginning, Bereshit Elohim. In the beginning, the Elohim said, "Let there be light." The Elohim, the collective consciousness. That's all metaphor, by the way. Genesis 1 is all metaphor. So I'm admonishing us to go beyond Revelation 12. The whole book of Revelation is your map of progression. Go beyond Revelation 12, where you're clothed with the solar light, and the moon, the personal self, is underfoot. Go beyond that superstition, because all that did for the woman is create a dragon in her nature that chased her and persecuted her. She had to hide. Oh, I can't speak how I'm feeling. I might collapse in negative reality. And then you get irritated about this situation. Oh, no, I got to run from the dragon of my angst. My angst is going to collapse in negative reality if I think about it. If I even look at racism, I'll create more of the same. You're living a life of fear and paranoia under the jurisdiction of the spirit of Joe Dispenza, and I want to pull you out of that shit. The Pentecostal 18-year-old kid who tries to not masturbate because the leadership says that'll put you in hell for all eternity. And so then he ends up not being able to once a week and is living a life of guilt and shame. I want to pull you out of this shit and bring you into harmonization, spirit-flesh harmonization. The leeches weren't the answer. Killing the flesh isn't the answer. Spirit-flesh harmonization, there was never anything wrong with your ego. Ego got conflated with the word arrogance, but ego is just the navigation center. The personal self, the individuated self, navigation center. Well, here's where I was a year ago. Here's where I am now. It's the litmus test of the discerner, the knowledge of good and evil. You called hell doctrine evil and also go back to God good. There's the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. You called the pastor having full control of your life evil, good. Good for you. And you called taking your human sovereignty back, taking your sovereignty as a human being back from the pastor or from the New Age guru. Take it back. All human-hating rhetoric in any spirit essence, take it back. Love yourself. If you don't love yourself, if you don't love your personal self, you can't love other people's personal self. And you'll be constricted to only love people who have the same exact spirit as you, because you won't be able to comprehend with anyone else. Thank you, guys.